Welcome to Unit 1, Physiology of Sport and Exercise. This will take you through from July to January, where you will sit a 1.5 hour exam. If required, this can be retaken in June. We will begin on Section A, Responses to a Single Bout of Exercise. This is one section from 5 sections we will be covering. We will move on to look at fatigue of the body, adaptations made by the body over extended periods of exercise, measuring the body systems such as VO2 max and how they increase with training, and environmental impacts such as extreme conditions of the cold or the heat. So what is a response to exercise? We are talking about what happens to the body during a single bout of exercise, during a single class of exercise. You're going out for a run, and what's happening to the body systems during this point. It's sometimes referred to as acute effects, the opposite being chronic effects. It is really important that we don't mix these up, the responses, with the long-term adaptations. So those adaptations to the body that have taken place over 6 to 8 weeks of training, for example, they are very different to the things that are happening to the body during that class. Examples of a single bout of exercise are those things such as a 30-minute HIIT session, a recreational swim or a football match. Essentially anything that's physically active and something where your body is responding at the time of the activity. We will start by looking at the skeletal system and see how bone is formed. So there are 3 key terms: osteoclast, osteoblast and osteocyte. An osteoclast clears away old bone. If you notice, they both begin with a C. That might help you to remember their function. An osteoblast builds new bone. So they both start with a B. Again, helps you remember. An osteocyte is a cell that manages the remodelling of bone. So an osteoclast will clear away old damaged bone or weak bone. An osteoblast will build new, fresh and strong bone. And an osteocyte is a cell that will manage the remodelling process, manage the breaking down and the building of new bones. So let's recap. The osteoclast clears away old bone. These cells clear away older, more fragile bone to allow new bone cells to form. This gives us strong bones for sport that prevent injury. An osteoblast will build new bone. These cells build new bone where osteoclasts have destroyed the old, fragile bone. The process of clearing away old bone and building new bone is called remodelling. An osteocyte is created initially from osteoblasts, those that build new bone. They control resorption and dictate where the bone remodelling will take place, thus forming stronger bone where previous there may be weaknesses. Blasts build, clasts clean, and cytes control. The process of remodelling is important, and there needs to be a balance between osteoclast and osteoblast activity for the maintenance of strong bones. Beyond middle age, the osteoclast activity is seen to be greater than the osteoblast activity. So this means the density of the bone decreases. That means your bones are weaker than they were before, more likely causing an injury when you are playing sport. This injury could be a fracture when you were trying to change direction and you went over on an ankle, whereas previously you would have got a sprain or a bruising. Now you may actually cause a hairline fracture if your bones are weaker. So it's really important to keep your bones strong and to keep the balance of osteoclast and osteoblast activity. So how do we do this? To prevent injury, to prevent fragile and weak bones, and to encourage dense bones and strong bones, we need to take part in weight-bearing activities. It is thought that weight-bearing activities can suppress osteoclast activity and promote or stimulate osteoblast activity. This would then increase bone density and increase the strength of the bones, meaning your chances of injury during sport, whether you be rugby tackling somebody or trying to land from quite a big jump, would reduce the chances of you sustaining a fracture. So what are weight-bearing activities? A weight-bearing activity is anything that places a stress on the bone, a force on the bone. So swimming, no, this is not a weight-bearing activity as the water supports you. Encouraged when you are coming back from injury and your bones may be fragile. Running, yes, this is a weight-bearing activity, although sometimes too much stress can be put onto the joints with running and can cause further injury, particularly in the older age groups. Walking, yes, this is also weight-bearing activity. You are taking the weight of your body and you are providing force to your skeletal system. This has less impact than running. Sorry, I've just spotted my spelling mistake. Less impact than running, so it's kinder on the joints. So this may be recommended for the older generation. If you are fit and healthy, then running shouldn't be a problem.